Everybody joining me on the show this week is Elba Tigers head coach Marc Sieving out of 1A Region 2, and they're coming off a 57-53 win over Brantley on Friday night. Coach Sieving, congratulations on the win, and appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, Phillip, man. I appreciate you having me on. You do a great job, and enjoy listening to your podcast and all the stuff you put out, so thanks a lot.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you saying that. And just, I know it's a lot with the game, everything that went on Friday night. But just summarize on how your team was able to come out with a victory on Friday night.
Well, I'll tell you, man, we're really proud of our players and really happy to get the win. Coach Jones over there at Brantley does an outstanding job with his team, and they're a great team. And you know what? They probably could have won the game about 3 different times, and there was a lot of things that we did that we felt like we could have won the game, earlier also. So it was just one of those back and forth games, man. Their offense is explosive. They've got some really good skilled players, and the Jaden Parks kid at quarterback, man, he's an outstanding athlete just in general. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a big challenge for us. We knew that going in, and we kind of thought they may have trouble stopping us too. And it was just going to be kind of, one of those games where, who could get the stops and at certain times. And, really proud of how our kids battled. We went into halftime with a we were losing at the halftime. And, one thing that I've noticed since I've been here at Elba about our kids is that, man, our kids are going to fight to the end. And, if you do that, you're going to put yourself in position, hopefully, to have a chance in a lot of games. And that was the case. Brantley had the ball and drove it down the field on us with, I think under 4 minutes left. And, looked like they had the lead and looked like they were about to go in for the score. I think they had the ball like on the 3-yard line. And Emmanuel Cooks came up, him and Jacob Watkins came up with a big turnover that was recovered by Cassidy Carpenter. And then it was like, okay, here we go. We've got whatever's left on the clock, a little bit over 3 minutes to go 99 yards, and try to win this thing. And we got down there, man, and made them kind of burn their timeouts. And we just didn't want to give the ball back to them with any time at all, if possible. But we knew we still had to score. And luckily that all worked out, our way. It could have very easily went the other way. And like I said, it was one of those games, where I can imagine it was tough for those guys over there on the other sideline. I've been in some of those games myself, but on our end, we couldn't be any prouder of our kids and the way that they competed and played, and our coaches and the way that they worked all week. And we put ourselves now kind of back in position to do really well in the region. If we can continue, to improve and continue to stay on track. So that's kind of where we're at now.
Yeah, and on that game-winning drive, going 99 yards, I mean, that's impressive at any point in the game, but to do it to win a game, just what were some keys for your team just to kind of continue with that drive and just make it down the field? Of course, I know Alvin Henderson scored the game-winning touchdown with about 37 seconds left, but just your team, consistency on that drive, being able to make it down there to be in position to win the game.
Well, I tell you, Caden Adkins had a big run to get us started down there from the 1-yard line. He popped one and got us out to, I think, about the 25 or so, 30 maybe, and then we just kind of chipped away at it. And I don't know, we were worried because we're primarily a running offense, and and especially in that situation in the game, we want to do what we do best, and that's run the football. And time was of the essence, so. But we did a really good job. Our players did, and our coaches did, of managing the clock and getting down there. And finally, ended up getting a first down, I think, inside the 5-yard line, and made them, and intentionally did not score on first and second down to make them burn their timeouts and to run the clock. And then knowing that we would have, third and fourth down to score, and that was kind of our plan. And because it was kind of like, our options were, if we score now and give them the ball back with time, I mean, they've got an offense that can score. So and then if we don't score on third and fourth down, we lose that way too. So, the way for us to win the game is to run the clock on first and second down, and then try to score on third and fourth, and we made it on third. So, giving them the ball back with that little bit of time and kind of going to our prevent defense, and Brady Johnson came up with a big interception right there at the end of the game that kind of sealed the deal. Was big. Trey, I'll tell you another one. Trey Davis, our kicker, he kicked off after that score, and they mishandled it, and we tackled them on the 5. So now they had like 95 yards to go with like less than 30 seconds. So, that was really swung in our favor. But, overall, man, I think the key to the game was, defensively, we did have we got 3 turnovers. We had an interception right before the half that would have put them up 2 scores. That saved that. We had another the fumble that I told you about down there on the 1-yard line that we caused, and then the interception there to end the game. So, there's always a lot of room for improvement on both sides of the ball in every game, and our defense certainly is one of our sticking points right now that we're trying to get over the hump with and trying to improve with, and we struggled with a lot during the game. But when it's all said and done, those 3 turnovers that our defense caused were huge, and potentially you could say won us the game. So it was an awesome game to be a part of, and like I said, I give a lot of credit to Brantley. They got a team. They're going to go far this year, man, no doubt about it. But we're so proud of our kids and the way that they battled and competed, and got ourselves kind of a little bit out of the hole that we put ourselves in against McKenzie.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that game against McKenzie. And I know obviously that game didn't go the way you guys wanted to, and every game's different. I know that, but that was a game you went into 4 overtimes. It was a back and forth game. Even though that was a loss, in any way that game help you with this game, because kind of the same nature going back and forth?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you've got to find a way to respond after that, and that was a rough night. For our players and our team and our coaches and our fans too. You're not supposed to lose a game when you score 78 points. So that was a rough night for us. And, we challenged our kids, and our kids have responded. We're nowhere near where we need to be defensively. I mean, we've got some holes that we're trying to plug right now and fix. But I will say this: since that game, yes, we have gotten better defensively. And like I said, I mean, we talked about going into the game just as a coaching staff. If we could get 2 stops on defense against Brantley or 2 turnovers, that could be the difference in the game. And ultimately, we ended up doing that. So. Man, I mean, all the credit goes to the kids. They're the ones that put in the work, and they're the ones that go out there and execute. So, just love them all to death, and so proud of them. And let's build on this and see how far we can go.
Yeah, you talked about Caden Atkins. He had a big game, 157 yards, and then Alvin Henderson, they held him down, 65 yards. I know a lot of running backs. That's a really good half. I know what Alvin. That's probably a little bit different with him, but he really came on in the second half. What was different there?
Yeah, well, he did now, but I will say this: he also ran a kickoff back in the first half, so that was big for us there. But that's the thing. I mean, everybody's going to focus on Alvin. I mean, if I was playing Elba, I'd be like, hey, all 11 players on defense, go tackle number 2, and then that's where Caden comes in. Caden's a guy that can hurt you. And Jacob Ledbetter, our wing back, he ended up with about 50 yards on the night. And, we're still trying to develop a little bit of a passing game that, so that we can take some of that attention off of Alvin. But, like I said, those coaches over there at Brantley, I mean, they're good coaches. They know what they're doing, and man, they had all those guys up in there, and made it tough for us to get our offense going, at times, and or made us have to do make adjustments ourselves, and felt like we made some of those in the second half, and we're able to capitalize and kind of get back in our groove.
Yeah, I was watching the highlights of the game on Max Preps with the huddle highlights, and on the kick return, obviously Alvin was not the guy that caught the kick; he got pitched back to him. How is that something y'all work on throughout the week in practice? That kind of play with the kickoff return.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we put two guys deep, Caden and Alvin, and know that both of them are threats, and sometimes Caden does run it. But, the majority of teams that play us, don't kick deep to us. And, which we like that also because we get the ball on the 40-yard line a lot of times. If we can fair catch it, if they're pooching it, we spend a lot of time on recovering onside kicks, because a lot of teams attack us in that way. And I don't think we've given up one this year. So that work's paid off. And, we look at the kickoff return team as the first down. So, I mean, that's an offensive play for us. So, if we can get the ball in Alvin's hands, obviously, yeah, we want to do that. And, it's pretty simple to do. The blocking rules don't change for anybody. And it's just can Caden get it to him? And if he can, Caden's going to get it to him and kind of lead the way for him. And now the pitch that he makes and that he made in the game is a little bit longer than the one he usually makes in practice. So it had me worried, but it was right on the money. And Alvin caught it, and man, he turned on the jets, and Caden led the way for him. So that was a big play for us for sure.
Yeah, there was one of those touchdowns I saw in the highlights. It was once he got, I think, around the 40. He had 40 yards to go for a touchdown. I didn't see anybody else on the screen in the highlight. It was just Alvin running down the field. So, obviously, yeah, he put those Jets on one of the other scores, too, as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's a special player, man. But I'll tell you this, and I say it because Alvin would want me to say it. I mean, we all know that he's a talent and he gets a lot of attention, but when you ask Alvin about that, he's going to say, well, I couldn't do it without my linemen blocking for me and my wing backs and blocking backs and Caden. And, so, it's a team game. And I'll tell you what, man, our offensive line oftentimes goes unnoticed for some of these holes that our backs are running through. And our blocking back, Jacob Watkins, I mean, he is, I call him the heart of the offense. I mean, he's literally the guy that makes it go. And, a lot of people just see, what two can do with the ball. And don't get me wrong, he is so special. And it's amazing me. I mean, some of the runs that he has, I stop for a moment as he's taking off down that field and become a fan. And I'm just like, wow, that was impressive, And, so, yeah, I mean, it's fun to coach a kid like him. We just want him to be a great teammate. Want him to continue to improve, just like everybody else on the team, and I think that's what he wants to.
And keeping up with and following high school football for the years I have, in 1A, Brantley is a power. I mean, they're good every year. As a coach, when you get to that week, when you say, okay, we got Brantley this week, what is it like just preparing, on a year-to-year basis for a Brantley team? Because they're always really good.
Well, I tell you, I don't think, I think when you play a team like Brantley and that, more than us knowing it, the coaches, yeah, we know it's important and that it's going to be a tough game. But I think one of the awesome things about Elba is that our kids know it. And, you can tell in the way that they prepare, especially the kid, Jacob Watkins, I was telling you about. Jacob's one of our seniors, blocking back, middle linebacker. And, his demeanor at practice all week was, look, we're just not having anything less than full speed out here. If you're not out here trying to improve, and when your players are doing that, man, that's really special. And I think that that's just a product of this town. And Brantley has had a lot of success in 1A, but, we've been in 1A now for 3 years and we've had some success ourselves. And, our kids expect to win, doesn't matter who they're playing. So, that's an awesome thing. I think, it's not like that everywhere. I think sometimes that, everybody wants to win, but, really, really stepping onto that field and it doesn't matter if it's a 3A, a 4A, or how many A's they've got, expecting to win those games. there's just a certain fight in our kids that I really love, and I know other people got it too, but man, I really feel it with our teams that we have here.
And then, just transitioning into this week, of course, everybody's, going out of region, non-region games this week. And you guys will be playing Goshen out of 2A Region 3. They're having a really good season so far. They had a tough game with Highland home this past Friday night, but a 3-1 team. Just, and of course, as I always say, everybody, we're recording this on a Sunday night. But from what you've seen out of Goshen, what are going to be some keys for you guys to come out with a win?
Well, I'll tell you, man, Coach Moore over there has really turned that program around. They are a really good football team. We've been kind of working on them, some today, and just really impressed with what they're doing on both sides of the ball. Man, they had an absolutely awesome first half against Highland home. Their offense was explosive. They've got a lot of really good playmakers. Really like their quarterback, and awesome run game. Can throw the ball also, and they did some things, over the course of the year, man. I mean, they've really, really dominated some teams, and even did that to Highland home at times, even though they came up short. So, we're certainly going to have our hands full, and it's going to be a huge challenge for us. They're going to, those guys, I think the number of players that they've got and the size of their players, we're going to be, a little bit outmatched at certain spots. And, we're going to have to try to find a way to overcome that, because they got a good team. I can see them doing a lot of really good things this year in their region and into the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, it's always just as someone that covers the high school football, it's always interesting that middle of the season when everybody goes out of region play. For coaches, what is kind of like the key with you guys? Okay, you look at, say, all right, we're going out of region play. Obviously, we want to keep the good play going, but still, we're going out of region for a week, and then before we head back into it.
Well, I don't know, man. I think some people may look at it as they're getting a break, but we sure aren't. I mean, we were talking about that today. I was like, goodness gracious, so. Yeah, I mean, we've got our hands full this week. So, for us, I mean, we don't really talk about the opponent that much. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's more about, how can we improve? How can we get better? And I think you've got to, for us anyways, that we got to keep our focus on that. I mean, I do feel like we've had a lot of improvement from, week one up to this point, but there's still, I think that needs to happen throughout the season every week until the end, so, yeah, I mean, that's going to be our focus, man. I mean, there's no looking ahead in the region and trying to figure out this. So there's no looking ahead, for us. We've got our hands full with Goshen this week and trying to figure out where you line up in the region and all that. I mean, that's all to be determined. So it's just a matter of improving day by day, week by week, hour by hour, get in there, watch film, working out, getting stronger, getting better. So that's got to be our focus moving forward, and that's where we try to keep it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll be keeping up with you guys this week. It's actually an off week for me because Dothan's not playing, so I will not be in the studio. I'll actually be, but I'll still be keeping up with everything going on in Wiregrass. And Coach, I kept you a few minutes longer than I said I would, but I always appreciate you taking the time out, coming on the show, and talking about the Elba Tigers. And just wish you good luck this Friday and rest of the season.
Yeah, thanks, Phillip, man. I sure appreciate it. And just tell all the people out there, if you're looking for something to do Friday night, we'd love to have you at Elba. Our band and our cheerleaders are awesome, and I know Coach Moore they're going to bring a good crowd, and ought to be an exciting night and a good football game, and we'd love to have you with us. So appreciate you having us on, Phillip. You do a great job, man, and supporting sports down here in our area, and that's about all I got. Go Tigers.